Hey there, Simone here. It's kind of unfair that I'm making you look at me because what I'm looking at is really cool. So let me see if I can figure out how to switch this. Don't see the button, but you can probably hear it. It's the beautiful Pacific Ocean. That means I've been traveling for like 2 weeks and finally made my way back to California. So happy to be home for a minute. I'm in one of my favorite places, the Central Coast, and yeah, I'm looking at the Pacific Ocean right here. And maybe I can figure out how to flop this at the end of this. Wait, maybe. Ooh, here it goes. So this is what I'm looking at. Maine, but I thought I'll tell you guys a little bit about what's been going on. So, like I said, I've been traveling. I just got back here and talking to some of my favorite clients this week, and it's been kind of a theme. So I thought I'd share what's going on, and maybe it's going to help some of you guys too. So like I said, it's been a theme. 3 of my VIP clients I just talked to have been having kind of the same thing. So they are CEOs of companies making 7 or 8 figures of revenue already. Some of them are kind of steady Eddie, have been ramping up, you know, slowly over time, and they're just getting there. Some rise fast and steep, but for all of them, this is not their first rodeo. They've been working on this for a long time. All of them have been in the saddle building companies for 10 plus years. Some have failed multiple times, and now it's almost working. They're almost there. So it always feels like it's that overnight success that's been like 10, 15 years in the making. They are so close, but all of them are super tired. They need to stay on the ball. They need to keep going, but they're tired, and they're wondering, when is this finally going to reach that moment where it's not so much struggle anymore? They know they have to make it work, and they can't consistently sacrifice everything else, because the way these people are, they're guys and gals, they'll always be building another company. Even if this one works, they're gonna sell it, sit on a beach for 4 weeks, and they're gonna be so bored, they're gonna just build another one. So it's always about, how can you actually make this work right now and have a life with it that actually makes this whole thing sustainable, so that you don't burn totally out. So the elusive question here has been, hey, how do I keep going like this and not get divorced, not start hating my company, never do anything, and not lose my health? That's the other thing, right? Because this is tiring. A lot of my CEO clients struggle with, you know, all sorts of adrenal fatigue, weight gain, just no sleep, anxiety like crazy. I mean, there's so much stuff that goes with this level of pressure and stress all the time. I mean, this is bone deep stress all the time. So the elusive question, how do you have balance? And I'm not talking about live-work balance. We're way beyond that. This is not even a subject. It's like, at this point, you can't have one without the other. You have to really look at, you know, how do I get my work done and do it well? How do I still travel and do things that are interesting to me? How do I have a life, like a family and all that kind of stuff, and keep my health? So it's not like, you know, I'm gonna work out like mad for a month, but then I'm gonna go build this feature, so then I'm gonna stop that, and then I'm gonna be so burned out, I'm gonna go travel for a month, and then I'm going to be completely losing all the balls everywhere, all over the place. So it's kind of, there's this propensity to do everything and do it hard, but it doesn't exist in balance, so it all falls apart. So how do you do this where you can not work like mad, not run away, not drop balls everywhere, and exhaust yourself to a crisp, right? So because that is not a plan to success. That's going to get you a failed company, a divorce, feeling completely imprisoned by doing what you're doing, and disease. You're going to get sick at some point, because nobody can sustain this over the long term, right? So this is not sustainable no matter what. So we've been talking about, how do we fix this? How do we do this differently so that you can be that rock star for your company, but not drop everything else? So first of all, you have to know your personal outcome at all times. Why are you still in this even though it's hard? This can't ever go away. You have to know, why are you still in this? And maybe it changes over time, but if your only thought is retirement or sit on a beach, that's not going to be enough. Hey Anne-Marie, so glad to see you. Anyway, that's not going to be enough. We got to do more than that. So the next thing is you have to maintain that crystal clear vision where you can be really inspiring to everybody who's giving you their time, because they're not going to keep doing that if you can't sell them the dream. So no matter where you're at, and sometimes that is so hard, right? Because you might be really, really tired, but you have to keep selling the dream. You have to keep talking like you're still believing in it 1000%, because otherwise nobody's going to keep following you. And a lot of times people follow you despite the fact you're not paying them well, despite the fact that you're not a very good CEO right now, despite the fact that you might be yelling at them because you just lost it because you're so tired and you can't keep the stress going anymore. So how can you keep selling the dream? You have to have that crystal clear vision that's incredibly detailed and inspiring. And then you need to have a strategic plan that holds water even when the going gets tough. And you know, for some of you guys, you think that's something you're going to get from a book or there's some surfers out there who are having a great time hollering and hooting. So anyway, for some of you, you're thinking you're just going to watch a YouTube video or a book or a free video, and that might be a good beginning, but if you don't have somebody who can kind of guide you through that and help you through the pitfalls so that it actually gets implemented, you have a problem, because that's what happens most of the time. People make plans all the time and they don't get used. So then they don't mean anything except for a whole lot of wasted time. So personal outcome, crystal clear vision, strategic plan, and then the other thing is you have to have great people on board to get you there so that you can keep doing the thing that you do best. That means being the CEO, not taking on things you shouldn't be doing, that's diluting your time and your purpose. So those 4 things will get you balance. Those 4 things will enable you to actually walk away from your company and take that trip, go away with your family, take the night off, whatever it is, or go away and become a better CEO because you have to go on the road and raise like a few $1 million. So the question of balance has to be answered, and you can't wait to answer it. And if you think it's a luxury, think again, because this stuff, the first 2 things are a bit of mindset, but that is the mindset of a great leader, because great leaders know they cannot go on without incorporating that piece. And then the second 2 things, you need a bulletproof system. You can't learn this stuff from a book no matter what. You need a mentor. You need somebody who can actually take you to the very strategic, intricate parts of this. So, you know, what do you need to be successful with this aside from those 4 things? You need to really think about this. You can't ask, does this work for me? You have to keep asking, how does this work for me? And then you have to be decisive, coachable, and resourceful. And decisive means you can't muck around. You got to find a system, work with it, do the work. Coachable, if you have an expert on in your port, on your team, you can't argue with them. You just got to go with what they're telling you to do because they know better. There's 2 people in the room and you're not the expert, right? And then you also have to be resourceful, as in there's always a challenge. For some people it's time, for some people it's money, for some people it's that they're not committed. But if you want to get this right, you got to get those 3 things dialed in. So keep thinking differently. That's what got you here. Don't stop now, because to get to that next level, you have to think differently yet again. So if you don't want to reinvent the wheel, don't do this alone. If you want to know more, there's a great training that we have done. It's bulletproofstartups.com, bulletproofstartups.com. Watch that training, and if it's the right match, you get to apply for a call with me. But check that out and have a great rest of your day. And I'm going to swap this around again. Wonderful you. So that's the rest of my day. I hope you're somewhat close to this. And I shall see you next time. sucker off.